feel like I'm on the news.
Okay,
Okay, so we're
okay.
on air now. Yay! So welcome to our Google Hangouts today, talking about how to write a cover letter in English. So first we have to kind of explain what a cover letter is. And so I'd like to ask someone in my audience today, Lucia or Ken, um, do you know what a cover letter is?
Yes, after the job interview, some people send a letter to cover up the interview or something. No?
Okay, so that's what you think it is?
Yeah, but I
That's
may be
your
wrong.
opinion?
Yeah, in my
Okay.
opinion, yeah. Or
Okay, thank
cover
you.
up call or cover up letter. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Okay, you might be wrong. Lucia, do you know what a cover
Uh,
letter is?
it might be a CV.
Okay, a CV or a resume. Not
Curric.
technically, but close.
Mm. Oh, I didn't know. I
Okay,
thought
that's just
curriculum vitae, CV, but
fine.
it's not. I don't know.
No, it's similar. It's related to a CV slash resume. So basically, a cover letter is something that you will add to your resume or your CV.
Oh,
CV is in British English.
references. References, maybe?
No, not quite either. A cover
Oh.
letter is, for example, we're applying to a job. I'm looking for an English teaching job, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I send my resume to the company, if it's via email or via letter, normally it's email these days, I will also attach a cover letter. What a cover letter does is basically says, hey, pick me, I'm the best for this job, and this is why.
Oh.
And so it's actually a written letter that you have to write about yourself explaining why you would be the perfect person for this job. So you're kind of selling yourself here. And now this is before an interview. This is the first contact that you will have with the company.
Mhm.
Are we
Uh,
surprised?
a kind of a letter, introduction, yourself.
Exactly, and your experiences. And so that's what we're going to be looking at today. So I'm going to hopefully share my screens in a second here. Gosh, where is it?
Good luck.
Share, screen share. I love technology. I'm so happy.
I
Where is it? Cover letter. Okay, so now you won't see me. Oh, oops, I need to go to the top. So how to write a cover letter. So that's basically what we're doing all today is just showing this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll go step by step. We'll talk about what it is, how to write it, and I have two examples. One is specific for applying for jobs, and then there's a different type. So if we have time, we'll take a look at that as well. I was just thinking, I did start broadcasting, right? I just need to go back to the screen. Okay, good. I am recording. Perfect. So how to write a cover letter. Okay, so first, like I said, we're going to talk about what to include in your cover letter. So it should complement, not duplicate your resume or your CV. Let's put CV in there for our British English friends. Perfect. So a cover letter is often your earliest written contact with a potential employer, which I said, and it creates a critical first impression. So you want it to be clean, you want it to be straightforward, you want it to look really, really nice and be well presented. So then they think, hey, they did a fantastic job on their cover letter, their resume slash CV is fantastic, let's give them a call, let's get them to work here. So this is why it's so important. Not all companies will ask for a cover letter, but it will, if you do write a cover letter, it does mean that you're probably more interested and more serious about a position. Okay, so that's something that's also very important. So actually, Ken, why don't you go ahead and read what a cover letter is? It says cover letters and read just until the bottom here.
Okay. Cover letters explain the reasons for your interest in a specific organization. Identify your most relevant skills or experiences. Think of instances where you applied those skills and how you would be effective in the position available.
Exactly. So these are the things that we're going to look at today. You really want to say, hey, teaching English, I have a lot of experience. Here's my experience. But you can't make it too long. So it's finding the perfect balance of this cover letter being long enough and explaining everything that it needs to explain, and short enough that they want to read it. And so that's something else that we'll also look at today. So moving on, the second part of this is each cover letter you write should be customized to include. So customized. Every single job that you apply to, your cover letter will change. Now, if it's maybe for the same position, for my example is teaching English, sure, maybe it's the same because you're going to be teaching. However, now it depends on what age you're teaching, how you're teaching. Is it in person? Is it for individual students? Is it online? Is it for big classes? Is it at a public school, a private school? And so there's lots of things to take into consideration when you're writing this. It's not just, hey, I'm going to do great at your job, hire me, basically. No, you really have to connect yourself with that company. And so it's always a really great idea to think about, what the company does, how they do it, maybe how long they've been around, and so it's detail oriented as well. It's not just, selling yourself. It's relating you with the company and that position you want. So Lucia, would you please do me a favor and read this part here?
Yes. Each cover letter you write should be customized to include which job you are applying for, how you learned about the job, and a referral if you have one, why you are qualified for the job, be specific, what you have to offer the employer, match your skills to the job description. Thank you for being considered for the job.
Exactly. So just as I said, you have to relate your skills, so match your skills to the job description, use similar words, use synonyms for maybe adjectives that they used. So it's a little bit of playing along with, again, relating yourself to that company and that position. So do either of you have any questions at the moment?
No.
So for the freshman, who doesn't have any career, what kind of thing, they can write on cover letter, like volunteer work or something?
The freshman you said?
Yeah, right after the graduation from the college or university.
So maybe you have similar experiences, maybe volunteering somewhere, or through practice, through an internship if you had one. So you can relate yourself in that way too. You might even say, knowing that this is your first job, say, I have zero experience in this field. However, I'm really looking forward to doing this. This is exactly what I want to do. Talk about your studies a little bit and what you focus on. Maybe your personal life. Maybe you have like 10 kids and you want to work with young kids. And so you can relate those kinds of personal experiences as well into this if you don't have prior experience.
Okay, thank you.
For example, like this one, why you're qualified. I want to work with young children because I have 10 children and I know they're a lot of work, but I love this age because of, whatever. Um, so absolutely. So that was actually a really good question. I hadn't thought of that. Are there any other questions, Ken? I know Lucia's probably taking notes, but Lucia's probably not. But Ken, are you looking to find a job in a different country someday, or not?
No, I'm not thinking about that, but if it is necessary, yeah,
Would you like to go
I,
to the United States?
uh, uh, yes, if it is necessary, or if I can have, if they want, because to get the job in America, it's not so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to get a working visa in America also is not easy. I
Mhm.
I went to the consulate office to get a student visa, and the box next to me, maybe see where the applicants are for getting working visa in America, but she was rejected for some reason. I'm not sure because I have to consider on my interview. So I realized maybe without getting a job, I mean, without hiring the company to get working visa in America, maybe it's difficult. In my
Mhm.
impression. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard that too. So, okay. All right, just wondering. Thank you. Let's move on to the next part here. This is the cover letter writing guidelines. So now we've talked about the content, and now let's look at, what parts of this we have to do. So the first part is the header. So I'll read this part. A cover letter should begin with both you and the employer's contact information. So the name, address, phone number, email, followed by the date. Now, nowadays, emails are super important. So it says if this is an email, rather than an actual letter, include your contact information at the end of the letter after your signature, which we will see later. Okay, so any questions here? If it's a normal paper physical letter, put your info at the top, and if it's an email, at the bottom. It's pretty straightforward. So, Ken, why don't you read this next part?
Okay. Salutation. Begin your cover letter salutation with Dr., Mr., Miss, last name. If you are unsure if your contact is male, female, write out their full name. If you don't know the employer's last name, simply write "Dear Hiring Manager" or "To whom it may concern." More formal.
Exactly. So thank you. So when you first start the letter, obviously, we use these, or there's Mrs. as well. So there's a couple different things we could use here. Let me just put Mrs. in there quick. I'm not a Mrs. yet, so it didn't occur to me. And then their last name, it says, obviously. So doctor, obviously, is a doctor. It doesn't always mean a medical doctor. It means someone who has their doctorate, a degree. Now, Mr. we would use for guys, for men in general. Miss for unmarried women, and then Miss for married women. Okay. If you don't know, Miss is what you need to put. Okay, Miss. Just to make sure that's clear. Again, if you don't know if the person is female or male, because there are unisex names, we don't, or maybe, it's a female name in your language, but it's used as male here. For example, in Italy, actually, when I was studying here in Spain years ago, I met someone from Italy called Andrea, and I thought, Andrea, but that's a girl's name. And so it took me months to get used to the fact that it was actually a guy's name in Italy. So here you go, Lucy, a little of my experience. So, so if you're not sure, just write it out. That's the easiest. And if there's no information, for example, on the post or on the advertisement that you see for this job, all you do is type "Dear Hiring Manager," or again, as it says here, "to whom it may concern." Any questions with this? This is a little bit more complicated than one would think.
So if we don't know the status or gender, just write dear full name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe adding dear is politer than just the name, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay.
Any other questions? Again, it is a letter. You know, it's not just an email saying, "Hey, Dr. Mr. Johnson or John Johnson, just want to tell you a little bit about myself." This is something you would say in person. You know, that's or on the phone maybe. But no, when it's a letter, a formal letter, then it needs to be dear. All right, good question. Thanks, Ken. Okay, so Lucy, I believe this is yours. Move that up just a tiny bit. Why don't you talk to us about what we should include in our introduction?
Begin your introduction by starting what job you are applying for. Explain where you heard about the job, particularly if you heard about it from a contact associated with the company. Briefly mention how your skills and experience match the company and/or position. This will give the employer a preview of the rest of your letter. Your goal in the introduction is to get the reader's attention.
Okay, perfect. So this is actually stating, so this is just that you say what job you're applying for. Okay, that's very important because maybe they have multiple jobs available within their company, but all the emails go to the same person. So in order to make life easier for everyone, state the actual position. Whoops. Oh, I didn't mean. Okay, we're not using that again. And then the next part is where you heard about it. Now, personally, this doesn't really matter to me, but I mean, it depends because sometimes if there's an online kind of third party here, like for example, Thomas found me online because I had an ad up. He was looking for somebody, so he messaged me directly through that website. And so nowadays things are a little bit different with that. That might be true. So you don't need to say, "Oh, I found you on website," when you're emailing through that website. Okay, so be cautious of that as well. And then again, this is where you really put in your skills, your experience, and things like that. Okay? And again, it needs to be relatively interesting, not just, "I am a teacher, period. I like teaching, period. Kids are fun, period." It's not just that. It's, I really love teaching. I think it's fantastic. And my favorite thing about teaching is how rewarding it is when a child understands something. Now that might have been a little long, but I like to talk, so maybe read it and then review before you actually send this. Questions with the introduction? This is pretty simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, moving on then to the next part here. In the body. So what are we putting in the body of this? I think you both read. Well, Ken, we'll go back to you. Why don't you read this paragraph here?
Okay, body. In a paragraph or two, explain why you are interested in the job and why you make an excellent candidate for the position. Mention specific qualifications listed in the job posting and explain how you meet these qualifications. Do not simply restate your resume, but provide specific examples that demonstrate your abilities.
Okay, very good. So you have to be careful with some of these things here, and it sounds like Ken has a question, but let me just explain a little bit first, okay? So again, this why is highlighted in bold because you really need to sell yourself. This is where you say, I'm the best of the best, hire me, okay? Again, specific qualifications are very important in this case. And then again, it's not just, oh, I worked at this place for this many years. I worked as this in this place. It needs to be more specific, okay? Sometimes people give examples, maybe how to solve problems or something like that. Ken, would you like to ask me a question?
Maybe the pronunciation. Resume.
Resume.
Resume. Okay.
Yeah, this is actually a French word. We've stolen it. And it should actually have like little accent marks on the E's. Resume.
Resume. Okay.
Good. Perfect. Well, let's go down to the closing here. And Lucia, you're more than welcome to read this.
In the closing section of your cover letter, restate how your skills make you a strong fit for the company and/or position. Say that you would like the opportunity to interview or discuss employment opportunities. Explain what you will do to follow up and when you will do it. Thank the employer for his/her consideration.
Okay, exactly. So this is where you need to basically say goodbye. Again, you need to restate about your skills. Okay, and again, reinforce that you're just such a great candidate for this job. Talk about the interview. At least offer the fact that you would like the opportunity to interview. And then when you can also say looking forward to hear you. I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon, which means you're waiting for them to reply basically. And then a follow-up. Now a follow-up is actually when you contact them. Okay? So maybe they don't. It depends. There's some companies, let's say, hire for a month, and then after that month, then they'll go through the interviews. Some people maybe will get a job application, and then they'll do the interview very shortly after. And so that kind of depends on this. But you can say, if I don't hear from you by, Friday, Friday the 12th, for example, I will contact you Monday around noon or something like that, depending on the company, because you don't want to call during a busy time either. So be careful of what time you say you're going to contact them. So are there any questions with this? The closing part?
Is there any particular phrase at the ending, regards or best wishes and yeah?
That's actually a really good question. Now, there is a difference between American English and British English as well. I know sincerely is used with both. I honestly, personally, would say thank you very much, comma, and then my name. That's how I would personally do it.
That's simple and it's easy to remember.
Exactly, and it's, and before that I can say I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon. Hopefully we can set up an interview or something like that. And again, thank you very much. You always want to thank them. And, that's the last part that it says here in the closing. Thank the employer. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you for reading this.
Because I heard, rigor, sincerely, my wishes, someone casual, someone very, very business-like, so I don't know that sense actually, so yeah, maybe thank you very much, yeah.
You're right, and honestly, in the British English terms, I actually don't know which is more correct, if it's best regards or yours yours faithfully or yours sincerely. So that I'm actually not too sure about. That's why I just say thank you very much, basically, kind of, eliminate that. So, okay, so there's one more. The signature, of course. Great. So, Lucy, why don't you talk to us about the signature?
Use a complimentary clause and then end your cover letter with your signature, handwritten, followed by typed name. If this is an email, simply include your typed name, followed by your contact information after the complimentary clause.
Good. And this complimentary clause that they're talking about is exactly what we were just talking about, Ken. The thank you very much, best regards, etc. And so, yes, there's two different rules if it's a handwritten letter or typed letter, or if it's an email. And so you should be careful with that. Again, we did say if it's handwritten or if it's typed on paper, your personal information should be at the top, and if it's an email, it should be at the bottom. And so this is what they're talking about here. Okay, so if we continue, keep it short is your last little piece of advice. Again, you don't need to explain 1,000 different things. I mean, I've been in the working world for, well, we'll say about 15 years, and so I don't need to explain every single job that I've had, just the ones that relate to this job. Okay, so now we'll see some examples. This is a sample email cover letter message, okay? And so what they're saying is in the subject area, you should put, again, this is the position and your name. Sometimes emails are different, maybe they have a different name, but this should be your full name, and you should have that consistent. Are there any questions with this?
No.
Okay, good. And again, the subject line is something that you have to fill in. Obviously, the email to and from is done. You will have to put in the to email, but okay. So this is the actual email message. So dear hiring manager, so we don't know who this is for. It's something general. I would like to express my interest in a position as editorial assistant for your publishing company. Okay, so very short, sweet, to the point. You're interested and the position and for their company. As a recent graduate, okay, so you have a recent graduate with writing, editing, and administrative experience, I believe I am a strong candidate for a position at the 123 Publishing Company. So again, here are the experience. This is the experience that this person has. We're not giving exact details, but they do have this experience. Moving on, you specify, so now they're referring to the advertisement. You specify that you are looking for someone with strong writing skills as an English major, a writing tutor, and an editorial intern for both a government magazine and a college marketing office. I have become a skilled writer with a variety of experience. So this is a fantastic paragraph. They're saying very strong things here. They're not just saying what their experience is, but what kinds of things that they've written for. So a government magazine will be something that's very important. This is relatively prestigious, I think I would say. It's very, very important. And then a college marketing office is a little bit more informal. And so there's a wide range there, from informal to formal. And then again, kind of everything in between. So that was great. Do I hear a question over there from the audience?
What is college marketing office?
College marketing office? College is like university in American English, and then the office where they market things, it's a business. So for example, maybe this person made brochures to hand out to students, or some universities have pamphlets that you send to people who might want to go to that college or university.
I
So
see.
that kind of thing. So still, relatively formal because you're also representing the college, and so it is important. But I would still think, at least I would assume, that a government magazine might be a little bit more formal.
I see.
Okay, any other questions before we continue? Yes. Okay, so my maturity, practical experience, and eagerness to enter the publishing business will make me an excellent editorial assistant. I would love to begin my career with your company, and I am confident that I would be a beneficial addition to the 123 Publishing Company. Okay, so they're talking about now personal, qualities here. And then the practical experience, useful, the logical experience, and the eagerness. So they're very excited. They really want to do this. Okay? So again, this is where you sell yourself. This is, take me, hire me. I want this job. And again, they're referring directly to the company. So as we finish up here with this, there's more on the next page, but I have enclosed my resume. I will call within the next week to see if we might arrange a time to speak together. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Jane Jones. Again, this is more American style because that's what I know best. And so again, here they're saying, I've enclosed, my resume is attached basically. And then the time frame that you will do the follow-up. So I'll call within the next week. Okay. So also within the next week means if you send this on a Thursday, you will call before next Thursday. If you say, I will call you next week, and it's Thursday, that means you will call within Monday to Friday. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So again, at the end here, we're thanking them for their time and consideration. Sincerely, Jane Jones. And then on the next page, we have her information because this is an email. Okay, so again, we have her name, address, email, and this is, it's actually nice to have this here, they say, because it's easy. If they make this into a PDF and then want to get your email later, they have it there. So they have it all together. And then the cell phone number, or in British English it might be mobile. Okay. And then the last is their LinkedIn. Now, if you don't have a LinkedIn, that's fine, but they have all that information in there. LinkedIn, if you don't know what it is, it's a very common nowadays place to find jobs. And so that's kind of the third party I was talking about, is if you're looking for a job, you put up your information there. If someone is looking for a candidate or someone to work with them, they will look for you there as well. Okay, so that's one cover letter example that I have. Any questions with this before we look at the second example? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. Or yes?
Sorry. What should we write in LinkedIn? Usually it's almost same as resume, but maybe something extra.
Right. Yeah, it's basically your resume, but I think it's just there because it's another way to maybe contact you or to find you. Maybe the company would like to look at your profile on there. I do not have a LinkedIn. I fortunately have enough to keep me busy with jobs right now. So I do not have one, but I know it's something that people look at least in the United States. I've heard people here in Spain talking about LinkedIn as well. So I think it's becoming worldly. So if you don't have it and you're looking for a job, that might be a good idea.
Okay.
All right.
I
Yes.
think it's not simple to write this letter, because you can risk to seem too sure about yourself,
Well, you have to be confident in order to get this job and do well. So I think that's kind of what they're saying. Yeah, you do kind of put yourself out there a little bit more, but that's the
yeah.
idea. If you want a
Okay.
job, you definitely have to put yourself out there. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a little strange writing it. I have written some before, and you just say, I'm the best. Look at me. This is what I want, and you're offering the job that I want, so I want this.
Yeah.
So perfect. With the time we have left, I'm going to continue with this second one I have. This is for an inquiry letter asking about possible job openings at a company. So this is something in general when you haven't seen an ad anywhere on TV, in the newspaper, online. This is just you because you like the company. You want to ask them if they have any jobs available. So again, this as a letter, we are going to put our personal information at the top here. So again, name, address, etc., phone number, email address. Then you'll start with the date. As an email, we know when we get that. And then the contact name, title, the company, their address. Okay. Then we're going to start the letter. So Ken, why don't you read this part until exemplary?
Okay. Dear Mr. Miss Contact, for the past 10 years, I have followed your career through news events, interviews, and web research. Your dedication to the news media and your understanding of the important role journalists play in today's fast-paced information highway, coupled with your belief in the power of the press, is exemplary.
Good, exemplary. It's extraordinary. It's wonderful. So now what they're basically saying here is saying, hey, I've been watching you and I really like your company. Okay, so they're kind of, we call it in English, talking the company up. So talking up something is saying, hey, this type of juice is the best. It's got lots of vitamins, minerals. So you say only positive things about it. So that's what they're doing here. Okay, and again, this is just a basic one. So this miscontact situation is just for this purpose only. It's a sample. Okay, do not read that. I wouldn't recommend it. Lucy, can you read the next part, please?
Okay. I have had the privilege of honing my journalistic abilities 3 widely different publications. Where I left college, I immediately went to work for the typical small town newspaper and learned all aspects of getting the paper to the people in a timely manner. I then moved to regional manager for a media corporation composed of small to mid-sized newspapers in the Midwest. In my current position, I am chief correspondent for one of the largest newspapers in the Southwest.
Okay, great. So here, they're talking a little bit more about their experience. Okay, and I'm wondering if you have an idea of what honing is. Do you know what this word means?
No.
No.
That's why I'm asking. This is it maybe means a little bit like focusing or something that you've done. Showing could be also in this case. So this is you don't need to use this word. It's pretty formal, and I actually wouldn't normally use it. So good. Question?
Nope.
Okay.
I just looked at the dictionary. Hone. It means refine skills.
As well.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Let's continue on. I think I'll go ahead and read the end of this. I would like an opportunity to visit with you to get your insight and suggestions on where my skills and abilities would be of the greatest value to the ABD company and to inquire about possible job openings with the company. I will call your office to set a convenient time. I do look forward to meeting you. And then we have sincerely and your name. Again, this is for the hard copy. This is your signature, okay, and then your name. So you sign your name with a pen and then you write it clearly, okay? So in this part, they're basically saying again, you know, I want to work with your company. Let me know how I can be most useful. And then they're doing their follow-up here with, I'll call your office to set up a convenient time. And again, this is not for any specific job. This is for any job at the company. Maybe, you know, something that's a little bit more entry level or something that's, you know, intermediate. So you're just looking for any information here. We're just about at time, so that worked out pretty well. Do I have any questions from you?
No.
Okay, well, stop sharing this. If you can always watch this again. So if you do need extra notes about something, it's there.
Sorry, I have one question.
I had a feeling.
The last time I will call you, is it common custom in applicants call to the manager or something to get a job in America?
Actually, formally, yes. I know some people will, let's say, hand in their resume and, you know, do a job application. And then it's normal, I think, like a week later. It's relatively cordial, like it's pretty formal. I don't know if it's really common these days, but I know for high, you know, very important companies, you might want to do it because it also shows that you're interested. That you don't just, you know, hand out your resume to a whole bunch of different companies and then not care.
I see.
So yeah, I mean, relatively normal, but not super normal.
What should we talk in the call?
What did you talk about? Well, you can talk about, you know, if they've looked at your resume first, if they're considering maybe hiring you, if you can maybe set up an interview, that kind of thing. More so if they've seen your resume more than anything.
And maybe if they are interested, maybe we can arrange the date of the meeting or something. A job
Exactly.
interview.
You can definitely set up the interview if you'd like, if all goes well. So, but give them time because if they're, you know, looking for people, if it's a job position that they have advertised on a website or somewhere, they will get a lot of applicants, and so give them time. Don't call the next day and say, "Hey, I sent my, you know, this yesterday. Have you looked at it yet?" Absolutely not. Give them about a week is about normal.
Okay.
And think about, you know, Mondays again are pretty busy. Fridays, you know, are also pretty busy in general in companies, I would say. So also be cautious of that.
I see.
Okay. Great. Well, it's 4 o'clock on the dot here, so it is time for me to get going here. So I want to say thank you if anyone was watching this. No one's watching right now. Thank you, Lucy and Ken, for coming and participating in class. Glad our little technical situation has worked out. And what day is that? Saturday, I have a class about the causative tense in English. So we'll see what that's all about on Saturday, okay?
Okay. Goodbye.
Wonderful. All right. Well, enjoy your day. Thank you very much. And